Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. It is now December, so it is time for a new everyday makeup drawer video. I definitely want some really pretty, maybe some holiday reds or something like that. Maybe maybe when we get to the eyeshadow palette, maybe something a little bit more wintry. We will see how it goes. But first, we're going to start here with my top drawer, and then I have my brow products sitting right here in this container. Definitely want to use this product from NYX and this Refi Brow Gel. So the first thing we have here is from NYX. This is their Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen, and this one is in the shade Espresso. It just has like this really fine tip. It is a really good brow product. I do enjoy it every single time I've used it, and I feel like I haven't used this one recently, so this will be a good one to use for the brows. And then along with that, I'm going to use the Refi Brow Sculpt, which is just like, it comes out of the tube looking white, but it does go on clear. And on this packaging, you do have a brush. I typically never use the brush because I'm not actually looking to laminate my brows, but this has a really, really strong hold to it. If you do like that laminated brow look, you can definitely get it with this product, but I just like a little bit more of a casual hold, and it does really good job at that as well. It's kind of hard to see from this angle, but right in here are my primers, and there's one right here that I am getting so close to having an empty on, so I'm going to include that one, and it's this one from e.l.f. This is their Jelly Pop Dew Primer, and you can see just how little bit I have left, so I figured why not try to go ahead and finish this up for this month and get an empty on it, because I feel like I can do it if I use it every single day, so we're going to use that one for the primer to get this one out of my collection. Okay, now for foundations, I have those sitting right here, and then I have one from Iris and Romeo sitting right there. It just didn't fit on this little side because it's in that pot. At first, that's the one that I said I was going to use, but then the more I thought about it, I have used that one a little bit more frequently lately because I was testing it out. They had sent that to me, and I wanted to really get my final thoughts on it before I shared any kind of opinion with you on it. So I have been wearing that one, but one I haven't worn lately is this one right here from Ilia Beauty. This is their, let's see, Skin Rewind Complexion Stick, and mine is in the shade 3W Spruce. And it's just like a really nice stick foundation, and I always did like this one, but if I see where maybe I don't get a lot of coverage from this, I could always layer a foundation over the top if need be, but I always did like this on its own, but it has been a while since I've worn it, so I figured I'd give this one a good test again for this month and see how it goes. Okay, so for concealer and like my corrector possibly, let me scoot these two right here off the top right quick so we can see underneath there. Okay, you know what? I think actually the Ilia concealer is sitting on top, so I feel like I'm going to go into this one as well just to go with the foundation stick, and this one is their True Skin Serum Concealer, and mine is in SC.5 Arrowroot. This is a really decent concealer. I do like it, so I'm going to pair it up with their foundation stick. I feel like that's a good move to make. And it's one that I don't believe I've tested this one out as foundation yet, and I do like to see if concealers will work that way for me, so this will be a good time to test that out as well. Okay, now for like a corrector or something, I'm not sure. I don't know. This is sitting right here on top, and I really need to use this up because this is really old. It's been in my collection for a very long time. It's from Rare Beauty. It is their Under Eye Brightener in the shade Light. It's the one that has that kind of cooling tip to it, and it's a decent product. I do like it, but it's been in my collection for a very long time, and maybe, just maybe, this is the final month for this product. Maybe I'll use it up as much as I can this month and then just kind of get rid of it because it has been in my collection for years and years at this point, so it's probably getting kind of old. I don't detect, let me see. Yeah, I don't detect like a bad smell or anything, so it's probably still okay, but I might just finish out strong this month with it and then just go ahead and remove it from my collection. Okay, and then back here I have powders, and then I have bronzers and some highlighters back there as well. For the powders, I knew exactly which ones I wanted. Now, this time I am going to be picking out two loose powders because I do have a loose powder that I just recently picked up, so let me grab them. They're right here together. Now, it's no secret that I had the Wet n Wild My Melody powder, but I also went back and got the Kuromi powder as well from Walmart. They actually had this one in their clearance section, so I actually did get it a little bit on sale. After I saw it, I said, you know what, I'm going to pick it up because I really do like this one. Now, I haven't opened this one yet. I just purchased it yesterday at the time I'm filming this video. I am doing quite a bit of pre-filming so I can kind of have the week of Thanksgiving just to, you know, spend time with family and stuff. So I have not used this one at the time I'm showing it to you here, so it probably still has the, I think it still has the seal on it and everything. Yes, it does. It still has the seal, but if it's anything like the My Melody one, it is filled with shimmer, but I felt like for the holidays, that is the perfect time to be wearing a really pretty shimmery face powder. Now if you use a fluffier brush and you just scatter it all over your face, it's not that noticeable that it has a lot of shimmer in it, but if you use a more concentrated brush, you can definitely see that fine sparkle all over your face, and it is so beautiful. So I'm going to be using both of these for this month. Okay, I am going to be picking out a highlighter this time. I would love to have a highlighter to maybe mix in with like some cream blushes or some liquid blushes or whatever the case may be. So I have one right here. And this one is from Billion Dollar Beauty. This is their liquid highlighter in the shade Mystic. This one was sent to me in PR, and it is a really pretty shade here. Hopefully I can show you. It's really pretty on the skin. You can build it up, but you can also make it to be more on the softer side. I'm going to blend that kind of in a little bit so you can see it. But you can make it more subtle, or you can build it up to be even more intense, but it's really, really pretty. So I definitely want to include it this month for the holidays. I feel like it would be a good idea to have really pretty highlighter during this time. And as for the bronzer, I'm thinking about this one right here from Physicians Formula. This is their Mineral Wear Diamond Bronzer, and this one is in Bronze Gem. This is a cream bronzer, and it's one of those that at first, when I first put it on, it looks like it's going to be such an odd tone. I believe this is the one I'm thinking about, but we'll definitely find out when I do the more get ready with me portion of this video. But I believe it's the one that when you're first applying it, it looks like a strange tone, but once you blend it out, it is really beautiful on the skin. It is a nice cream bronzer, so I thought it'd be a good idea to get some more use out of that one. And I love how it's like a pretty little diamond. I think that'd be pretty for the holidays. And since we are talking about like some complexion products and stuff, I figured I'd go ahead and show you the blushes I picked out as well right here. My blush drawer is an absolute mess. I still have not gone through it, but that's another thing that I think I'm going to tackle in January, like the beginning of the year, do another big declutter or something like that and kind of go through my blushes and see which ones I actually want to keep. So I'm just going to skip actually showing you my blush drawers for right now and just show you a few that I picked out here. I do have some from Tower 28, but first we're going to start out with a stick because I'm going to swatch all of these for you, and this one will be easier to swatch. So I do have this one here from Iris and Romeo. They did send this one to me in PR. This one is in the shade Mood Boost, and this is their Ceramide Multi Balm, which you can use this on both the cheeks and the lips, and it's really pretty both ways. Okay, I still have some of that highlighter here, so I'm going to try to swatch it right in here. But I definitely wanted a little bit more of a neutral blush because the next two I'm about to show you have a lot more pigment to them, like they're red. So I wanted to go in with something a little bit more neutral. This is a really nice product. I've tried it on both the cheeks and the lips, but I will say that I much prefer these types of products on the cheeks alone. I don't typically like to multitask with products like this. It's fine on the lips as long as you do, you know, some lip preparation with some lip balm and stuff, but I much prefer it as a blush. But it is a really pretty shade. It's a nice neutral, so we are going to include this one for this month. And the two from Tower 28 that I'm going to include are these two red blushes right here. We have the Tower 28 and Poppy Collab, and then of course the Beach Please in the shade Finest Hour. So let's start out with the cream blush. I wanted some nice, beautiful red blushes for the holidays because when you sheer these red blushes out, they create like such a really pretty, you know, coming in from the cold kind of vibe. And where I live, it is anything but cold right now. It's been in the 70s and the 80s lately, so we haven't really had what I'd call wintry weather. Of course, I never really get snow where I live. I live in the south, so it's something you don't see very often here. But when you do, it's very, very pretty. But this is such a beautiful blush shade. It is extremely pigmented. These blushes from Tower 28 have so much pigment in them. And you can also use these on your lips too. But yet again, I much prefer them as cheek products. Now this next one is from the Tower 28 and the Poppy Collab. This one is in Cranberry Fizz. Okay, I will say one thing. I have tried this blush only one time and it went so badly because it was so pigmented that I couldn't even use it. And I don't know if I went in with the wrong type of brush or what. I only dipped once and then I tapped off as much of the excess as I could and it still was way too much for my fair skin. However, I wanted to give it another shot because it is a really beautiful shade, but if it turns out to be too much for me, honestly, it probably will end up being like a collector's thing for me because it's not one that I'd want to get rid of because I do love Tower 28's products and I kind of collect their products too. They are my favorite makeup brand, so I would keep it for collector's sakes because these products come in these really pretty, this cute little tin, and I think that's really cute, so I might just put it back in the tin and just keep it as a keepsake. But it's just so pigmented and I want to give it another go. I don't know how it's going to work because last time it was just way too much for me. Really beautiful shade, but just way too much. So I'm going to try it out again. If I have that problem again, then I am going to just keep it as like a keepsake because I do really love their brand and yeah. I know it's not a good thing, but I typically collect their products. So that is everything for complexion, and also we are going to now move on to my lip products. Okay, so here is my lip drawer. Now, of course, I always keep my Tower 28 one-liner. Those lip liners, they stay in my everyday makeup drawer for every single month. I never take those out, so we are going to start with my lip pencils right here. And I kind of already knew what lip pencils I wanted to pick simply because they are holiday themed. I have these two right here, and there should be one more in here. Oh, this one. Okay, so let me grab these and I'll swatch them right quick. Okay, we have these three right here, and all three of them are from ColourPop. They were all holiday collection releases. We have two here from the Rudolph collection and then one here from the Frosty the Snowman collab. So let me swatch all of these and then I will show you all of them. Okay, so we have the Clarice Lippie pencil, the Rudolph Lippie pencil, and then the one from Frosty the Snowman. I think these are really pretty tones because we have kind of like a lighter nude, a little bit of a mid-tone nude, and then we have this really beautiful dark red shade, so I feel like these will be perfect. Kind of give me one option for like a red, but then also of course my neutrals, which I'm definitely much more into. I do love a red lip. I think it is absolutely beautiful for the holidays, but it's something I don't wear very often. I do love like more of a nude lip, so I wanted to give myself some more options. For my lip balms, I have those in these two containers right here. These are like my lip oils and my lip balms. Now, the first thing I have here, I don't keep these in here, but I have this one right here from Tower 28. This is their Lip Softy in Blood Orange Vanilla, and it does have a really beautiful red tint to it. So let me put a little bit of this on the back of my hand and show you that shade. It's a really, really beautiful shade. Okay, that is that shade right there. And I do love the Tower 28 Lip Softies. They're some of my favorite more lip treatment type products. And these, the deeper shades, have pretty good pigment to them. So I definitely wanted to include this one for this month since it is a beautiful red shade. But I also wanted a lip oil, and I wanted to keep the lip oil a little bit more on the neutral side. So the one I had in mind that I have not used in a while is this one right here from Wet n Wild. And I believe these are just called lip oils, but this one is in the shade Fuzzy Pillow, and this is much more of like a softer, neutral kind of shade, like a little bit of a pinky peachy clear. So I did want the option for something a little bit more on the neutral side, especially paired up with some of these more neutral lip liners. So wanted to include that one. Now I have some lipsticks right here, and then I have some overflow lipsticks on this section as well, but I definitely want the matching lipsticks to the lip liners because those sets come in like little kits. If you got the lip liner, you got the lipsticks. So let me grab those right quick. I'm not exactly sure which ones they are, so let me grab those. Okay, so these are the three lipsticks. We have the two Rudolph collection ones and then the Frosty the Snowman one. Let me swatch these all out and I'll show you the shades. Okay, so there we have the matching lipsticks to the liners. We have the Clarice one, the Rudolph one, and the Frosty the Snowman one. These really beautiful, beautiful shades. These two are very similar. This one is just a touch darker than that one, but they are very similar to each other. But I, of course, love neutral, more nude lips, so of course I wanted some more options with that than I did the red. But I also wanted a few little pops of red here and there. Okay, so for some lip glosses, I have those sitting right here, and then I do have some excess ones sitting on that side as well. But there's two I want to mention first that I don't keep in here, also from Tower 28. I don't keep my Tower 28 products in these drawers. I keep them in their own separate makeup bags since they're my favorite. But I have two of their Shine On Lip Jellies right here. We have the one with Poppy. This is the gloss that comes with that. It does smell like the soda. It's just basically like a clear. And then this one is called XOXO, which is like the sheer red, which kind of goes on kind of pink. But let me swatch these for you. Well, like I said, I don't really need to swatch the Poppy one because it is basically just a clear. What stands out about this one is it just smells like the soda. So I'll swatch XOXO for you, which kind of goes on like this pretty sheer pink kind of shade, if it would focus for me. There we go. So I thought this would be a really good option for the holidays. I just kind of wanted to have a little bit, some more reds this time, especially since this is December, you know, Christmas and stuff is coming around, so I definitely wanted to have a little bit more of some red options for the occasion. And for the last one, of course, I wanted a gloss that was a little bit more sparkly, but still on the neutral side, and I have the perfect one that I just picked up from Sephora, and I believe it's this one right here, but let me grab it. Yes, it's this one from Charlotte Tilbury. This is her Big Lip Plumpgasm, and this one is in the shade Strawberry Chocolate. And these do kind of have like a cooling slash tingly feeling to them, but see, this is another that I wanted kind of like a neutral, and it does have some really beautiful sparkle in it. So there we have my little assortment here. I feel like I have a good little mix of neutrals and then some few pops of red and different kinds of formulas. So I'm really happy with this. So these are going to be all of my lip products. Now, as far as eyeshadow palettes and stuff, I usually do like a winter eyeshadow basket, but honestly, I don't believe I have enough to do a winter inspired eyeshadow palette basket this time, so I'm just going to be picking a random palette from my collection that does have a more wintry scheme, and I'll be including that in the get ready with me portion. I have one in mind. I believe I'm going to use the Moonlight palette from Makeup by Mario because it does have a really beautiful navy blue in that palette, and I think it'd be perfect for the winter time, so I am going to be using that one probably in today's video. But as far as having like a winter palette basket, I don't believe I'd have enough to really do that. I maybe have 3 palettes off the top of my head that would work, but I'm not going to do a whole video for just a few little palettes because that would be very, very short. So we're just going to pick one of those and use them in today's video. But now that I've picked all of the products, let's go ahead and put these back into my little acrylic drawers. The only thing I've applied is this e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer. These kind of gripping primers, I like to apply them and let them sit for at least 10 minutes on my skin. So I did all of that off camera so I can move right on into the foundation portion. So I'm going to go in with my Ilia. This is the Skin Rewind Complexion Stick and 3W Spruce. And then I do have this Versed, I think this is like their multi diffuser brush. I will have it for you in the description box below. It has like kind of a longer name. Okay, so I'm just going to do a couple of swipes here on this side. And then I'm going to take this brush. It does have some setting spray on it. And let's go ahead and blend that into the skin. If my voice sounds a little weird, I have been battling another cold. I think it's because where I live, the weather keeps changing back and forth, back and forth. It's like it'll be really hot one day, and then the next day it'll be like colder and going in and out of that. So I feel like that is what has been getting me so much lately. Make sure that's blended in. I like to have my little up close mirror here so I can see. Because see, from further away it looks nice. It looks all blended in, but definitely have to have my little up close mirror. I always have liked this foundation stick. It was always really good. It blends in very easily. I've also applied it in the past with a sponge and never had any issues with it. Of course, I know a brush is definitely the way to go with it. Okay, I think it looks really nice on the skin. It's very lightweight. Not a lot of coverage, at least for the amount I use, but that's what I prefer. I'm not really a full coverage person, so it looks really nice on the skin. Okay, now for concealer, I am going to be using the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer in SC.5 Arrowroot. I am going to place a little bit of that on my eyes as well. And then a little dot here and over here. And then also on the under eyes, I am going to take the Rare Beauty eye brightener and place a couple little dots next to that as well. Then I'm going to take my Rare Beauty concealer brush and just blend that out. I don't believe I've used this concealer yet on the eyes as eye primer, but I figured today would be a good test of that. And of course, we're going to blend out the under eye as well. Now I have used the My Melody powder a lot, so we're going to take the Kuromi powder. This one's called Moody Cutie, and this one is definitely like a, hopefully I can kind of show you without spilling it, it's like a really pretty lavender powder, and it does have all of the sparkles in it. So I'm going to take that on that same Rare Beauty brush, kind of make sure all these creases are pressed out, and we are going to go ahead and apply that on the eyes as well today. I'm all for the sparkle, and I feel like the holidays is definitely a good time to have a sparkle all over your face. Of course, I mean, I've been into the sparkle stuff lately for any occasion. Yeah, you can see all the pretty little sparkles everywhere. Of course, I'm about to go in with an eyeshadow palette, and I believe that palette has a skin tone shade, so I am going to further set this down with like a regular eyeshadow powder. But this is really pretty all over the lid because of all the little fine sparkles. Okay, make sure there's no creases here on this under eye area, and then I'm going to press that right here. This is just filled with sparkles. It's so pretty. But I feel like right now is the perfect time to be using a powder like this. Of course, I mean, I'm going to be using these powders year-round. I really did like the My Melody one, so when I saw this one in the little clearance section at Walmart, I grabbed it. Okay, and then I'm going to take this larger powder brush from Rare Beauty, and we're going to apply that all over the rest of the face. Yeah, there are pretty sparkles everywhere, but it's really fine. It's not like really chunky glitter or anything like that. The sparkles are very fine into the powder. Okay, and then for some lip prep, I'm going to go into this Wet n Wild lip oil in the shade Fuzzy Pillow. Just going to apply a little bit of that on. Okay, so the eyeshadow palette I had in mind is this one from Makeup by Mario. This is his Ethereal Eyes Moonlight palette. We have this really beautiful blue shade in here, but I don't know if I want to do the blue because I thought about a red lip, but I'm still undecided as to what the route I want to go. But I really want to wear that blue, so I don't know yet. But either way, the first thing I'm going to do is take that same Rare Beauty concealer brush, and we are going to go into this shade right here in the palette. Now, this shade is not a true matte. There is some sparkle in it, but I feel like it would be absolutely perfect just to apply it down over the top of that sparkly setting powder. Okay, I am going to go into this shade right here on a Sigma E54, and I am going to place that all over the lid, and we are going to go into the crease with it as well. And do the same thing on this side, all over the lid and in the crease. See, that's such a pretty shade, all by itself. I'm going to take a little bit more of that shade, and I'm going to run it along this lower lash line. Yeah, this makes a really beautiful one and done matte shade if you are into that type of look. I do love a one and done matte, but I would more than likely do this and then apply one of these beautiful shimmer shades to the top of it. Okay, and then on that same brush, I'm going to go into this deep blue, and I have really tapped off that excess, and we're going to apply that right out here to this outer half of the lid. Okay, I did wipe that brush off on a little silicone mat, and then I'm going to go in and blend right in here in this crease. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Place that beautiful deep blue, or navy blue. It almost looks like a black, like with a little bit of a blue undertone, kind of. That's probably not blended that good, but I very rarely work with dark shadows anymore, so it's a little bit difficult for me to blend them out, so that's about the best I can do. It did end up looking very patchy on this side. I'm not going to blame the eyeshadow though, I'm going to blame me because I don't really work with shades like this. See, normally I would use a shade like this as liner, so I'm going to blame it on me, not the eyeshadow. So I'm going to go into this shade right here in the palette, and we're going to apply that right in here on the beginning half of my lid. This has like really beautiful kind of blue shift to it with some really pretty blue sparkles, so I thought it would be really pretty with that navy blue. This is more of a topper shade, so I am building it up a little bit as I go, just kind of tapping it in, because it is more of like a topper. So you'll just have to excuse my blending on that deeper shade. I'm just out of practice, I guess, when it comes to that, because I just don't work with shades usually that deep. I mostly use them as liner, so it might not be the most perfect blend, but I did my best. Then I'm just going to take some excess and put it like above, like over here as well, because I just like the sparkle all the way up so you can see it. Okay, I am going to go into this ColourPop E6. It's just an angle brush, and I am going to go back into that deep blue shade. I'm just going to dip once onto that brush. I don't want a lot, but I feel like I need a little something on this outer half of this lower lash line just to kind of match it a little bit. So I am going to add just a touch. I dipped one time into that shade, but we're only keeping it on the outer half, that lower lash line. Now I'm going to take that same E6 and we are going to go into the black shade in this palette. And I am going to use that as liner. Don't really have to do this step since that blue is so pigmented and rich, but just wanted to add a little something. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm going to go into my, I think I'm going to use the Makeup by Mario Master Mascara, and I'm going to use that in the black. So let me apply that and I will be right back. Okay, so we are going to move on to the Physicians Formula Mineral Wear Diamond Bronzer in Bronze Gem. I'm going to take that same versed brush. I'm going to tap into that and go onto the forehead here. Actually, maybe this isn't the bronzer I'm talking about. There was a bronzer I had that when you first applied it, it looked kind of like a odd tone, but then once you blended it out, it looked beautiful, but maybe this isn't the one I'm talking about. Maybe it is, I don't know. I know there was a bronzer somewhere in my collection that looked kind of odd. Maybe it was this one. Because that does look kind of... I don't know how it's coming across on camera, but it does come across a little bit odd in person. I can be so heavy-handed with bronzer. It's one of the reasons why I really love the Tower 28 bronzer and that Soft Sculpt, was it bronzing serum from Makeup by Mario? Because I feel like it's a little bit harder to go overboard. I don't know, does that not look like a weird tone to you? Is it just me? And I don't know how it's going to look on camera. I won't know until I'm going back to edit, but it just looks like an odd tone. Almost like a yellowy orange, kind of. I don't know. Maybe not too orangey, but just kind of an odd tone. Maybe it's just the way it looks on me? I don't know. I don't know if I'm real. Well, you have to let me know if you think it looks odd on camera. I just feel like in person it almost looks like mac and cheese. And I don't know why, but when I look at it in person, like in my little up-close mirror here, the first thing I want to say is like mac and cheese. Like, you know the stain that mac and cheese leaves behind? That's kind of what this looks like a little bit. Maybe not quite that bad. Not quite that bad, but I don't know. It's such an odd tone on me, and I don't know. You know what? I actually think I might let this bronzer go. Not really feeling that. So you know what? Yeah. I think I'm gonna let the bronzer go. I'll pick out a different bronzer to put in my everyday makeup drawer. I just don't know about that. It might look fine on camera, because I don't know, but in person it looks like such an odd tone. I don't know. But we're gonna move on. I'm gonna take a little bit of this $1 Billion Beauty liquid highlighter in the shade Mystic. This was sent to me in PR and it is really, really pretty. We're gonna apply that first, and then I'm gonna go into a cream blush in just a second, or well, it's like a blush stick, but I'm going to apply this first. Kind of get this down, and I'm using that same versed brush, even though I don't think this is laying that well over powder. It is not. It's kind of a bummer. Most of the products that's not wanting to blend out over powder. A lot of times when I use liquid or cream products over the top of powder, it actually works fine. This one's not wanting to do that. It's wanting to just stick in places. So definitely one that you'd probably want to apply before you powder your face. So not a fan of that. I'd rather have a product that would apply well over my powder, so I'm not really into that. It is actually a pretty highlighter, but if it's not going to work well over my powder, I don't know if it's really one I'd want to keep around, because I like to set my face. I like to go ahead and do that, so I don't know yet. So we'll see, but I need to go ahead and do my brows. I feel like I definitely need some brows. So we're first going to go into this NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen, and mine's in the shade Espresso. Let me kind of comb these brows down because I have a little bit more of the balding, if you will, on the top part of my brow. So I like to comb them down so I can really see that. I have always liked this pen, but I'm not the best person to use a pen because I feel like these are more so made for people that need like the hair strokes, and my brows are pretty decently full, so I don't feel like I'm the best person for a product like this. I do think it's a good one though. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Refi Brow Sculpt. I'm just going to take a little bit of this because this stuff is pretty strong as far as the hold, but I'm not really looking for too much hold, just a little bit of a casual hold. Okay, so let's see how this does over powder. This is the Iris and Romeo Ceramide Multi Balm in the shade Mood Boost. I'm just going to apply that to the back of my hand first. I feel like I need a little, oh, is that too warm for this look? Well, you know what, we're just going to go with it. I feel like I need something a little bit more on the neutral side, not like go into those red blushes that I picked out simply because I have this blue going on the eyes. So we need something a little softer like this. And let's see how this does. Pretty. And it's applying really nicely so far over the powder. That's what I'm looking for. If a liquid or a cream doesn't work well over a powder, I don't know how much I really want to keep it around. These are nice from Iris and Romeo. I picked out, when they contacted me to send me some things, I picked out this shade because it looked like the most softest neutral tone, and it's like a perfect shade for every single day or for like any kind of look. Like maybe you have an eye look and you're not sure what to wear with it. I feel like this is a perfect shade because it is really pretty and really soft. And it's laying very nicely over the top of that powder, which I love. But it's not laying well over where that highlighter messed up because you can see the spots from the highlighter and then this kind of laying weirdly on that. But it's not this blush's fault, it's that highlighter's fault. So I'm not going to fault the blush at all because this blush is really, really pretty and I love that soft shade. So that is definitely not the blush's fault. Okay, so now I'm going to take this little ColourPop and Frosty the Snowman, this little set. Okay, I blotted off that lip balm, so let's go in with the, oh, I need to sharpen this pencil first. I'm not the biggest fan of these gel pencils. I much prefer a wooden lip pencil. It's nothing against ColourPop's formula, it's just like a preference for the style of lip pencil. Oh, and this is the lippie pencil in the shade, what does that say? Over the Hills. I'm gonna line and fill in my lips with this. Okay, and then we're going to take the matching lipstick and the shade First Snow. This collection isn't available anymore, unfortunately, but any lip combo will do. Okay, so here we have this completed makeup look. I definitely am getting rid of that bronzer, and I'm going to get rid of the liquid highlighter as well, simply because I just can't be bothered. That bronzer tone is weird. It looks okay from what I can see in my viewfinder, but in person it's odd. It's an odd tone. It almost looks like, I don't know, like a healing bruise. You know, sometimes bruises, at least on me, some of my bruises will turn like a yellowy color when they're healing. That's what it looks like, kind of, in person. I'm just not a fan of that, so that's going, and I'm getting rid of that highlighter as well. So I'm not into that, but the rest of the look I really do love. That blush is very, very pretty. The lip, the eyes, the blue did get a slight bit patchy on me, but that is nothing against this palette at all. That is me, because I don't typically work with darker eyeshadows in larger amounts. That was a completely me thing. Over blending and doing all that. That's something I have a bad habit about, like over blending eyeshadows, and when I do that, it definitely makes them look a little bit more patchy. So that's not the eyeshadow fault. That's mine. But I do like the look anyway. It's so pretty and sparkly, and it looks very wintry. I do really like that. But I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already. And make sure you hit the bell icon so you are alerted to all my future uploads. And follow me on Instagram at jessicadeerly, and all of these products will be listed and linked for you below. They are affiliate links, so if you click through and purchase, I do earn a small commission. And if you choose to do so, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!